And welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. On this episode, we're going to talk about some pretty big news happened. PSA has now officially opened up $15 graded. Now, this is the tricky thing. So if you go to the PSA webpage, you can see that they actually opened up the $18 tier for bulk grading for like sports cards and you name it. But for TCG, there's currently a special for $15. In order to see that, it's not like advertised anywhere. It's not on the home page. You actually have to like click as if you're going to start doing a submission. You start going through the steps, and then when you get to all your different options for whether it's economy or express or bulk, at the very, very bottom is TCG special, and it's $15 a card. So what does that mean? Am I excited about it? Is this the beginning of the end of making money in Pokemon, especially for grading? And I just let you know right now, I am very excited about $15 grading. I was very excited about $18 grading, but this is that crazy thing in Pokemon. $3 per card means so much. Like the different like quality of cards I'm sending at $15 right now, and trust me, I already like started preparing. I'm going to actually do something a little different too. I'm going to send out multiple submissions with my same order. So this is something I've never done. I've always just sent one submission to PSA, in that or like one order. And in that order was just one submission. I've never actually broken up submissions and tried to do it separately, like add multiple submissions to the same like main order. So I'm going to do that. That's going to be a little different. I don't actually know if I can do that because it's something I've never done. So I have to like do a little bit more research because I want to like try to break up what I'm sending, because at $15, I get to play around with it a little bit, right? Because at $15, I get to send, like super modern stuff that it's probably going to grade pretty high. But then I'm also throwing in some like vintage stuff that I'm trying to get like not nines or tens. I'm trying to just get these cards encapsulated so I could, just burn through some old supply of cards that are really not worth it. But even in, a lower grade, and some of these, if I could hit a one, I'd still do pretty good. But, they're still like $30, $40 cards, depending on the grade. And yeah, I got some cards that I pulled just to give you guys a little example of like some of the cards that I plan to send. And keep in mind now, this is $15 bulk. The max price per card's only $200. So it doesn't just open up like your entire collection and you can start sending, your WotC first edition hollows, $200 doesn't allow that. So $15 still is tough, but there's a lot of plays to be made. So I actually think $15 grading is going to be huge for the short term. And one of the things, like I just earlier today when I was driving in the car, I was still at work, but I was listening to it in the background and I was listening to the PokeFlips podcast. And one of the things they talked about was CGC grading. And one of the things that, and you guys know how I feel about CGC. So this isn't going to be like me just doing a hit piece on CGC, like for this part of the conversation. It's just going to be more, what do I realistically see for CGC? Because right now, CGC costs per card is $15. Now, that $15 does not give you subgrades, which in the past was always like one of the really nice things about, CGC is the subgrades. But now to add subgrades, it's almost like, doubling the price of that card. It brings you up to, a way different tier than $15. So what is $15 going to mean against, CGC? Right now, one of the things CGC kind of got going for it is turnaround times. From everybody I've talked to, they're looking between like 2 weeks and a month for turnaround time on bulk, and that's great. But this is the thing. The $18 tier that many people sent, we're already starting to get a bunch of those submissions back. So I was dragging my feet a little bit. My $18 submission, I didn't send out till the end of July. Like right before the special ended is when I sent out my cards. And I just recently, 2 days ago now, got the confirmation that my grading is now in stage 5. So if you guys don't know, there's 8 different stages that your cards go through. Like One is pretty much just PSA received your card, to number 4 is usually the longest, where that's actually like the grading process. And then right now I'm at number 5, which is creating labels and encapsulating cards. And then it goes all the way to pretty much stage 8, which stage 8 is your cards have been shipped. And then, there's different windows of time for each one of those, but mine are already in stage 5. So meaning they've already been graded, just labels are being created, they're being encapsulated. Historically, that takes an extremely, well, I shouldn't say historically. In the last couple of years, to get the stage 5 on a bulk return took months upon months upon months to, in the last, couple situations, years to get to that stage. But this is the thing. All these July specials at $18 are already coming back to people. I know there's a lot of people still waiting on like a couple like late 2020 submissions, early 2021 submissions, depending on if you sent that card yourself or you went through like a third party, like a Ludkins or a Graded Gem. I know some of those returns are still just trickling back to people at the very end of before, PSA pretty much shut the doors and stopped accepting all bulk. But yeah, so I don't know why those cards are actually taking so long to get back. So I have like some like real tinfoily hat type theories of why that can be. One of that tinfoil hat theories is like something happened where, whether it was at PSA, like in their warehouse or their receiving department, I think it's possible like they mixed up a couple orders, and maybe they mixed up like a couple orders for maybe a few hours, and then just by doing that, somehow now they're like going back and having to like verify orders by how they were submitted, and maybe it's just taking a long time on the back end of PSA. I don't really know. It doesn't make any sense why my July $18 special is going to come back before some people's like November, December 2020. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense. I guess we can just tinfoil hat and just like round table why this possibly can be. Why are they, making these $18 specials priority? Because this is one of the things, when the $18 special came out, I could have sworn one of the fine print wording of that was that these were going to come out after PSA had made it through the backlog. So those $18 specials, nobody expected them to get them back as fast as we did, because really it was light speed. I'm saying mine were shipped out end of July. So let's just say August they were received. So August, September, we're at the very, very beginning of October. It was like a 60, day turnaround time, 60 real day. In business day, it was like a 45, day business turnaround time. 45 business days to get a bulk return back from PSA. Those are words people thought were impossible to say, especially in 2022. And there's some people, I even heard like Pokemon DNA. He's in Professor Oak's Discord. If you guys are not members of Professor Oak's Discord, I'll give you 2 recommendations right now. If you're not in any Discords and you want to be more engaged with the Pokemon community, there's 2 Discords I could recommend right off the bat, hands down. The first one is probably like, and I would just say number 1 and number 2, and they're tied, is Professor Oak's Discord, and then number 2 is Rattle's Discord. If you guys are not in either one of those Discords, I recommend you just join in those. Even if you want to just sit back, read the chats, go through. One, you're going to get all the, all the information. Whatever the current Pokemon news is between Rattle's chat, Professor Oak's chat, you're definitely going to get like, you're going to be in the know way before you see it on a channel like mine, or probably seeing it in most other Discord groups, because the people that are hanging out in Professor Oak's Discord and the people hanging out in Rattle's Discord are way, way like more engaged than 99% of the people in this hobby. So just those are little shameless plugs for Professor Oak and Rattle's Discords, but you guys should definitely join those. But yeah, so this is the thing about $15 grading. It opens up like the room for these low end, especially like, I'll give you a perfect example of some easy promos. Like I just grabbed like a little stack. This is just, part of some of the submissions I'm sending. And I'll show you the top 6 cards of this submission, right? And once I show them to you, they're probably all going to make sense on why I'm sending them. So one of the big news items that's been on, a lot of the YouTube channels recently is the Celebrations reprint with the Lance's Charizard V boxes. Are they a reprint? Are they not a reprint? Was it old stock? Well, they have Evolving Skies packs in it. They have Fusion Strike pack in it. Those packs came out after Celebrations, like that whole conversation. But just in my $100 or $100 submission, my $15 submission, these are six of the cards that I'm sending. So you got 3 Lance's Charizard Vs that I just opened up recently from those new Celebration reprints, and 3 special delivery Charizards. These are no brainers for me. Like the Lance's Charizard V in a 10 sells for like $60. This card is worth, in my opinion, if I had to put a dollar amount to this, 50 cents. Maybe we could go 50 cents, maybe 25 cents, depending. You probably, actually, to be realistic, you probably can't even find a buyer for this card. So let's just say it's more or less zero. I'm going to spend $15 to grade it. If it hits a 9, I'm going to sell it for like $24.99. Buy it now. Maybe even $19.99. Buy it now and just break even more or less at the grading fee. But if this thing hits a 10, they're selling at like $60 right now. That makes 0 sense. That is the dumbest price for cards that are probably printed in the hundreds of thousands. Like, that's this market. And now the special delivery Charizard, if it hits a 10, they're selling for like $500 right now. If it hits a 9, I'll get like maybe $100 for it right now as a market. And trust me, the market's going to fall off a cliff for cards like this, especially at $15 grading. But I'm going to try to be like first to market and race to the bottom and whatever. It is what it is. But like, keep in mind, these are 3 special delivery Charizards. They were free. They're free cards. Free, $0. Meaning you spend $25 at Pokemon Center because you got to get the free shipping. $25 at Pokemon Center. You could go buy. All right. To be honest, these cards are $5.50 because that's how much a code costs on eBay. So you go buy a code, spend your $5.50. So I guess technically they're not free. All in $30. And so that's $25 of that's from Pokemon Center, $5 to buy the card. Spend $15 to grade this card. That puts you all in at $45. And that's assuming you don't value the product you bought from Pokemon Center. Like, meaning that whatever packs you bought from Pokemon Center, you've got to value those at 0 at that point. There are just plays right now in this market that $15, grading opens up. Like, it just opens it up. And like another card, Super Modern promo, just a promo I really like because I told you I think it's actually one of my favorite. It's just the Sleepy Pika that I call. It kind of looks like the Sleepy Tyranitar, but it's a character, rare from Lost Thunder. Super modern card. This card in a 10, probably going to be selling for like $45 to $50. It's just like a $5 card, $15 grading, going to be all in for $20. I mean, there's these little plays, and this is the thing. $15 grading cards, it's not going to be super flashy, guys. Like, you're not going to be able to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, but all these little plays you can do, $20 here, $30 here, $40 here. Like, one of the big things about Pokemon, and really for me personally, in order to grow my collection, I need to keep constantly freeing up money. So I need these like moves playing at all times, meaning you got cards coming in, cards coming out, and just the handful of cards right here, even if all these things hit 9s, like that's still, I guess the Charizard, special delivery Charizard, because those prices are so stupid, sway the numbers so drastic. But, like that's that. And then, and then like it opens up like a lot of the Japanese cards. Like, I'm not a big Japanese guy, but like here's some Japanese cards I'm sending that are like, probably not worth it. Or I guess these are probably still worth it, but like the Ampharos, what is this? And then, obviously these are in every submission, the stamp promos, and then just like Moltres Japanese cards. These are just like easy plays. There's always be a Raichu in every single submission I send at no matter what level. And then So now you remember how I was telling you earlier, I got some like older WotC type cards. I guess this is a Nintendo card that's a little beat up, but just like a Salamence EX from Power Keepers, pretty beat up. Like that's not going to hit a 9 or a 10. I got a Shadowless Chansey, which I'm hoping this thing hits like a 1. And then I got the Deoxys from EX Deoxys. It's not like the movie promo. I can't remember what the movie promo one's called. I think it's like Deoxys Destiny or something. And then I think there's like a city stamp promo of this. And then, yeah, just like I got so many of these, but like the team up Gengar Mimikyu. And then this is the card I threw off the roof. I don't know if you remember that. That's part of one of the videos. It was just a Vaporeon non-hollow from EX Sandstorm. I just want to grade it so I can make a video of it. Like, here's a video where I threw it off the roof to crack the CGC slab, and now I'm going to grade it. So that's just like a personal thing. But $15 grading opens up all these like little plays. And I'm curious to see how the market responds to $15 grading, because one of the big things is like some of these cards, like those promos I showed you, like the special livery Charizard promo, the Lance's Charizard promo, like the fact that that thing is selling for $60 in a 10 is the dumbest freaking thing like ever. But just the fact that they're doing it, I have to just test the market, see how much, and this is going to be like that ultimate freaking goal of this hobby is how far can you push this hobby, or maybe not how far can you push it, but how far can you bend this hobby until this hobby just snaps? Because and there's this constant like back and forth tug of war in this hobby. There are so many plays that are just, they're so obvious, yet so like extremely dangerous / risky / kind of not risky. Like the thing about Pokemon right now currently, and Z and G and Cam from like they always have that one saying, never punished. And I don't know when that will change. Like for right now, PSA grading, you are so rarely punished at what you grade. And because the market right now is so extremely irrational, and if you do not think the market is irrational, I challenge you right now to please look at the most recent sales for Lance's Charizard V's, the Celebrations promo. Just go on eBay and just look at the most recent sales and tell me that that is not an irrational market. Or special livery Charizards in a PSA 9 and special livery Charizards in a PSA 10. Look at most recent sales. Look at lowest auctions available on eBay. Tell me just by looking at those two cards that this market is not extremely irrational still. But because it's irrational doesn't mean you can't be taking advantage of this market. Now, this is the thing too. The risk versus reward at $15 a card grading is so minimal. I already told you I value that Lance's Charizard V at like 50 cents. So my risk to reward, my worst possible case scenario is that card. I mean, I'm not sending cards that are going to grade 6s. I'm grading cards that I think are 9 or 10 candidates. My worst case scenario is that card comes back in a 9 and I got $15 locked up into that card from now until eternity. Like that is how crazy this market is, that my worst case scenario is still owning the card, still owning the slab, and just having $15 locked up into that card, which I don't put value on it personally, but there's other people out there that do. Or, like I just showed you 3 special delivery Charizards. What's my risk versus reward on that card? My downfall is that I have a special livery Charizard graded in a 9 or a 10, and I have $15 locked up into that card from now until eternity. Like that is my worst case scenario. Is that card is going to have $15 worth of grading fees locked up into it. I don't know when this market is going to just come around and say, dude, this is dumb. This is ridiculous. So Dougie Fresh said, I may have missed it. how did your Guarantina V play go? So I sent out 2 cards. I sent out the special delivery Charizard. I got the 10, and my Guarantina V, I got a 9. And I'm just going to hold on to that card because I've been watching the market for the 9s. It's pretty weak. I'm just going to probably bring that to Denver and see if I could turn that Guarantina V9, something that I don't want because it's a modern Altart V promo. And I'm going to see if I could either trade that into something I do want or just try to get like a quick cash sale of that card because, Guarantina V, it's a hot card, PSA 9, still a decent grade. It's definitely not a 10, what everybody's looking at. But that card in a 9 is still $300, probably 325, 350. So even if I get like 300, 325, 350 out of that card, like that is still a win because I'm in that card for the cost of the pack, which is whatever, $3.99. And then the $100 grade, I'm only into that card for $104. Now, hitting the 9 right when I graded it, I think raw cards are still selling at like 250. So kind of maybe lost money by grading it, but it didn't hit the 9 because of corners or edges, hit the 9 because of centering. So, centering grades when you got real clean corners, real clean edges, like I'm going to probably take the risk of just grading that card, trying to make that easy play. But Denver's right around the corner. So to answer Dougie Fresh's question, that's what I'm doing with that Guarantina. But it brings up another question. This PSA $15 grade and tier. Like what spawned this? And I don't know personally, and maybe somebody who has a little bit more familiarity with sports cards, stuff like this, could answer this question for me. Are Pokemon cards just that much easier to grade than sports cards? Or is it kind of just a wash or a push, meaning the amount of time to grade a sports card is just equal to amount of time it takes to grade a Pokemon card? I don't know. Like me personally, burning through a handful of Pokemon cards, like I personally could pre-grade those things light years faster than I could grade, pre-grade sports cards, but that's because I personally don't know sports cards well enough, or I have no clue whether or not rounded corners on Pokemon cards, very apparent whitening, has any sort of impact versus like square corners for sports cards. Are sports cards easier to trim, therefore where Pokemon cards are rounded, you could easily have silvering. Like the dimensions of Pokemon cards are pretty easy to quickly, like you could see a trim Pokemon card with like yellow borders and everything. Is it much hard? You have to spend maybe a little bit more time looking at a sports card due to like the potential of trimming, where Pokemon cards trimming would be just a little bit too apparent too quickly. I don't know. I'm just kind of brainstorming like why would they only have it, like that? And this is not new for PSA. The trading card game specials, these are, pretty commonplace. So I am going to be interested. Send these cards out. How fast do I get them back? If you told me I was going to be getting back my July special in 2 months, I would have said, you're crazy. I said, there's no possible way. But it does appear that that is the case. So these TCG specials, high risk, high return, high risk, high reward, long turnaround times, I don't know. Is PSA going to finally like say we're going to actually clear up the backlog, something we've been saying we're going to be doing now for last couple of years? Like they literally shut down to clear up the backlog, but yet they're not doing it. Is this like the big indicator? I don't know. Let's see. So RN Genesis says the Japanese card market is going to flip. It's already starting to with modern. I wonder what you meant by that. But yeah, now's the time. If you guys have any questions, answer them in the chat. I'm going to try to hang out for a little bit, answer as many questions as I can. And once I get to the bottom of the chat, I guess it'll kind of just be over. But see a lot of familiar names in the chat as always. I see Pokemon Classics. I did get to see Pokemon Classics video on taxes. It was just a good baseline for you guys. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, definitely recommend you going, given Pokemon Classics most recent view or video of you, especially because he's talking about eBay. He's talking about those 1099s, and it's going to be a big deal for a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people that don't really understand how to tackle 1099s. Like, I'm not Dan Catchmall Collectible, so I'm not going to give tax advice, but like the only like advice I would give, not tax advice like Dan, but just my own advice would be save your receipts. You save your receipts, you'll probably do pretty well. Probably the majority of people are not, net sellers versus net buyers. So we probably have enough receipts where you'll be okay if you're saving them. So this is funny. Head Pokemon said he's literally sorting cards as we speak, getting ready for that $15, TCG special. This is a crazy thing. I don't remember if it was on my channel or when I was on Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles channel, but I talked about it. I said, I was extremely excited to send cards at $18. I didn't send a single card at 22, not one. But now here we are at 15, and I'm like excited again because there's just easy plays right now. This market is still way, 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 way too irrational. And then, I'm gonna have these $15, tiers, and then I think one of my videos I said the Charizard UPC was coming out on October 18th. It's October 28th. I was off. I misspoke. I said 18th instead of 28th, but hopefully I get my pre-orders from GameStop on the 28th. And if that happens, I'll be cracking every single one of those, Charizard promos from the UPCs. Those will be probably in like the $100, just rush to market, get those cards graded. There's just like all these little plays right now that goes on in Pokemon. Some of them are going to be really easy. Some of them might be a little bit harder, but until the market kind of wises up a little bit, or the market stops being so extremely beneficial on the highest or on the higher end, or don't even know how to put this, not high end, just low end junk that's selling for a lot of money. I will never be a buyer for a lot of this stuff, but I will be fine with being a seller for most of this stuff. I don't know who's buying this. I never know. This is like the $1 trillion question. For as engaged as I am with the hobby, and for as engaged as probably most, if not all of you guys are with this hobby, especially if you can make it however many, like close to 30 minutes into this video or 27 minutes into this video, as engaged as you guys are, who the heck are these people? Who's buying this stuff? This is a question I have asked on more chats and more internal, dialogues and everything that I have. I can never figure out who's buying this stuff. I get it, like on the higher end, the cards that are tough to grade. Shout out to Professor Oak. Professor Oak had a great video, showed all the cards for Wizard of the Coast that were graded in quarter 2 for base set. So you're talking all of them combined, Shadowless, Unlimited, and first edition for base set. There was only 68 hollow 10s graded. That equals out to 0.16% of the entire population of Pokemon cards graded hit 10s in like quarter 2. 0.16% 10 rate for base set. There was like 556,000 of those cards graded. It's just the amount of 10s being graded versus the amount of all other grades on this, it's crazy. And I'm probably getting some of the numbers wrong, but like that's what it was. It was a great video. Professor Oak does a great job breaking down the PSA pop reports and stuff. And even showing, like, Professor Oak showed how many 10s were graded for like jungle was like 160 for hollows. This is just hollows, keep in mind. So yeah, it was like 64 hollows were graded for base set and 10s, like 160 hollows in jungle, like, or maybe it was, it's low. It's like low for the total amount of cards graded versus what the hollow 10 rates are. But then those cards will sell for the same price as the special livery Charizard, which, all said and done, when all the dust settles and the very last Charizard, special livery Charizard is graded 50 years from now, when the last possible one is graded, it'll take years for that to happen. When that pop report finally settles, the amount of 10s of that card that will exist and the size of the population of that card that will exist when all the dust settles will be just disgusting. It will be a make-believe number, like a number we have never seen graded. but somehow the market could absorb that card at $600. $600 that market's absorbing those 10s at. Insane. It's insane. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care how you justify this hobby. Like, I would love to have somebody come on and like justify the price of special livery Charizard in PSA 10 at $600. Like, to come on this channel and just debate me and give me a really good justification of why that price makes sense or why that should be the price, because it shouldn't. But who am I? I don't know. I could be wrong. We all could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe selling that card is ridiculous, but I don't think so. Let's see. So Collector Art House said, I'm your guy when you're ready for Sorcery TCG. Collector Art House, I like Sorcery TCG. I don't think it's that bad. Be interested in how that card game plays out. Because I was super hard against MetaZoo. So I made a conscious decision because of how hard I was on MetaZoo. I think a lot of it was founded, how tough I was on him. I think a little bit of it was unfounded. So I'm going into Sorcery TCG with a more open mind just because of how hard I was on MetaZoo. I want to see if I can go in with like an open mind on another one and kind of understand like where people were coming from. We'll see though. Let's see. So Drew says $15 is nice. A lot more cards on the table. Yeah, man. $15 opens up a lot of stuff. $15 really opens up that never punish type thing. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely cards you can send at $15 and be punished, meaning you're not doing any sort of pre-grading at all. Your cards are 6 candidates, 7 candidates. Like, even at, $15, there's definitely like 98% of all Pokemon cards that exist, you can still be punished. But as long as you're selective enough, you'll probably do okay. Or, it goes back to like, this is the thing. Going back, to the beginning with PSA, like 10s, you make money. 9s, you break even. 8s and lower, you lose money. All the market's going to do is settle out, and it's going to correct, and it's going to go back to where it was, where you're going to make money on 10s, you'll probably break even on 9s, and you'll lose money on everything else. And I think eventually, the market will get there. The only thing is we're just not there yet. So what is that saying? You got to strike while the iron's hot. Like, that's literally what you have to do still today. Now, is this going to eventually stop? Is this eventually going to evaporate? Maybe. But if you're able to flip cards at $15 and free up money and continue to grow your collection, like, it could kind of be like a wash, or if not a wash, it's still going to help like grow your collection. Because if that's what you are at the end of the day, if you are a collector, you're going to be able to grow your collection by freeing up money. Like, you could sit back, put the money in the bank and hope the market just continues to correct down, and you could buy all the cards you're waiting for as soon as the prices drop. That could be dangerous. Like, that could work, but it's also easier to just be buying the whole way up or the whole way down and just constantly buying, constantly trading, constantly selling, constantly flipping, just doing whatever you have to do to grow your collection. So as long as you guys aren't doing anything illegal, I think you guys are fine. Let's see. So Drew put up a good thing. He said, like, sub, and don't forget to hit the bell notification. Only like 60% of the people that watch these videos are subscribed. That means 40% of the people that watch this video are not subscribed. And even more important than that, they keep coming back to this channel and watching this. Like, the 40% of non-subscribers, only like 5% of them are new viewers, meaning 35% of people just keep coming back, watching these videos, and don't subscribe, which is fine as long as you're enjoying them. But you could just go down right there, right here, just hit that subscribe button. Yeah, that's my shameless plug for today. Let's see. Alex says, what card is he talking about? I wonder if I was talking about the Special Livery Zard or the Lance's Charizard V. All right. Let's see. So Daz says, I wonder how much Ryan sold PokeRev the Deoxys for. He's going to open in 2 weeks. I don't know. But I saw how much Rev was selling packs for that Deoxys box. Man, how the mighty boxes have fallen, huh? I think his price per pack was $999 and like 99 cents. So just call $1,000 a pack. That means he's selling that box for 36 grand. And based off of like Rev's other openings, like I don't know how much he makes off of his boxes, but I'll speculate because fuck it. Probably making like 4 to 5 grand off that box, which means probably puts his price point for that box either at 32 or 31, maybe 30 if he's making 7 grand off that box. I say probably less likely 30, probably 31, 32. So 5 or 6 grand off that box. I don't know where he bought it from. I don't. Any guys know like recent heritage auctions or anything like that? Any Deoxys box sold and what prices they sold for? Because I thought $1,000. Like this is the thing. What is a Deoxys box really worth, right? Like here, I think I showed a Deoxys card. There you go. There's a Deoxys card for you. It's a hollow in the set, and this card is worth. You could probably go on TCG Player right now. If I had to take a guess, $4, maybe $4 for a hollow of the set for a pack that somebody's going to pay $1,000 for. Like that's a potential hit. That's a Deoxys card. The reverse hollow is just as nice. And if you want this card, I wouldn't even recommend going after the Deoxys hollow. I'd recommend going after the movie promo or the city championship stamp card for the same one. But there's a good example, a $4 card out of $1,000 pack. But what keeps that price of that booster box up, right? Deoxys, you got 3 gold stars. You got the Latios, the Latias, and then obviously the big guy, the Rayquaza Gold Star is in EX Deoxys, and the Rayquaza Gold Star is the most expensive of all the gold stars. Awesome art. It is. I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate it, but like there's a little part of me that hates when I have to say how truly, truly good like a gold star artwork is. And the Rayquaza Gold Star artwork is amazing because it is like, the shining Rayquaza or whatever. It's, the black color instead of like the normal green Rayquaza we usually see. And it's a beautiful card. But the price of that card in a 10 is greater than $50,000. So risk reward, super high. I mean, it's either, and even if you hit, I guess if you hit the one of the other gold stars, like you'll still do good. But in comparison to that Rayquaza, like the Latios or Latias, it's nothing, right? Compared to that Rayquaza. But that's the thing. It's like you're taking $1,000 gamble to pull so now this is the thing about gold stars. The pull rates for gold stars, we say is 1 out of every 72 packs, so 1 out of every 2 booster boxes, you're going to pull 1 gold star. But because there's 3 gold stars in that set, your chances of pulling the Rayquaza based off of those numbers, that means 1 out of every 6 booster boxes will have a gold star Rayquaza. Then you need that gold star Rayquaza to hit the 10. Even if you hit the listen, you hit any grade for that Rayquaza, it's going to be more than $1,000. But that's like huge gamble factor. Pay $1,000 for a pack, get $5 worth of value, or get $50,000 worth of value. That is extremely high gamble set. There are a couple cool reverses in that, but yeah, Deoxys is one of those sets that when people were trying to sell those booster boxes for like $60,000 and, everybody was kind of, talking about that as what would that mean? And I even talked about on this channel, meaning $60,000 super overvalued for that booster box, but I'm wondering if there's anybody out there crazy enough to buy it. So doesn't appear anybody was actually dumb enough to do that. And I'm sure there's probably people out there asking for like $100,000 for that booster box, but I'd say $30,000 super gamble. I mean, this is the thing. If you're PokeRev, you could sell packs for $1,000. You could do it all day, every day. That's why his Tuesday night breaks are so much fun just for all of us watching because he's opening just crazy set after crazy set. I think in the last 3 weeks, he's now going to have gone. This is going to be Deoxys coming up. He just opened up Expedition, and the week before that he opened up Skyridge. Just think about like 3 monster booster boxes to open, to go in a 3-week timeline opening up Skyridge, Expedition, and Deoxys booster boxes. Crazy. But even when Reb was on this channel, like that was one of the things I asked him. I said, have you ever opened a Deoxys box? Because I was curious. And he said he's never opened one on his channel. And he did mention during my live stream that it's just a high risk, high reward set. So it is though. But yeah, so I don't even know who asked that question. I'm sorry. Oh, that was Daz Ports asked that question. And I don't know if Ryan sold him that. I know Ryan did say at one point on my channel he would sell that box for $30,000. Should have took him up on the offer because I don't know. I think 30,000 is like a legit price for that booster box. Maybe not. I don't know. It's scary. Like just for all the reasons I just gave you. So Robert Schaefer said, will anybody be sending Halloween cards at $15? Robert, I wouldn't be shocked if somebody did. I don't think that's the play, but I wouldn't be shocked. It would not be the most shocking thing I've ever heard in my life. Let's see, you got Dougie Fresh again. See him. Sorry guys. For whatever reason, sometimes it just jumps down. So Catch 'em all collectibles hops in. Here's his name because he's a big tax advice guy. Always fun. Alex said in quotations, time to clean up the backlog, or time to clean up the backlog. You've never heard that one before. That's pretty funny. Pokemon Classic says, hey PK, I think we will be staying at the same hotel at Collecticon. Pokemon Classics, that would be awesome. That means you will be hopping in the Uber with me when we head our way to Swami's house, either Friday or Saturday night. Guys, I am looking extremely forward to Collecticon Denver. It is going to be a fun time. I know I can't believe how many people are actually going. It's like a crazy amount of people. I didn't know Pokemon Classics was going to Denver Collecticon, but now that I do know that like it just keeps adding. It keeps being just better and better. Like I'm getting more and more excited. So yeah, this is pretty awesome. So yeah, Pokemon Classics. If you're looking for an Uber and you're looking to save a couple bucks, I got you. Let's see. So Head Pokemon said he didn't send a single card at 18 or 22, but earlier in this chat, he did say he was preparing a submission at 15. So this isn't something I haven't really thought of either. So I just told you guys earlier that at 18, I got super excited. I sent out a bunch of cards. At 22, I didn't send out any, but now I'm sending out again at 15. I wonder how many people out there are like Head Pokemon who didn't send at 18 and actually were waiting for prices to get even lower. That's an interesting thing that I don't think anybody has talked about so far. How many people out there exist like him who never sent at 18? Could 15 be like another huge flood? I'm not sure, but I know tomorrow my cards will be in the mail. They will at least be in the mail on Friday. So, let's see. So Pokin Fun said, anyone in the chat know where to put the promo code I bought on the PC? Yeah, it goes right. I forget where you put it. Somebody tell him. It goes right. Like you click on a box. It doesn't look like you click. It's like enjoy Pokemon. Yeah, that's it. It says enjoy Pokemon. As soon as you go to your cart and you see your item, right below your item, it's going to say enjoy Pokemon. Click where it says enjoy Pokemon, and then it will pop up a spot to put your promo code in. That's where you do that. Let's see. Cobb or Kalb, Kabl, Kalb, how do you say that? Kalb said, do you see the sign cards spiking up with PSA authenticating signatures and grading signatures? Do I see sign cards spiking up? Dude, sign cards have already spiked up. Like that's a tough question to ask. Like it's already happened. Sign cards went from being not worthless. They were never worthless, but definitely not at the dollar amount people are equating to them now. There's been this crazy run up on the sign card market. So to ask me if I think they're going to spike up with PSA authenticating signatures, no, I think they've already spiked up. And be careful with the signature market, man. This is my advice. If you're not asking this, but if you want the advice for the signature card market, is do your research before you dive in head deep. Like, understand like releases, understand that there can be a lot of counterfeits out there, man. So just be careful going into that market. But and signature market's one of those things, like when you start to hear a lot of people talking about signatures, when that becomes, the big talking point on, YouTube and chats and Discord groups, usually what that means is you're already late. Like that's the thing about the signature market. The signature market started doing this, and it started like rocket shipping pretty quick. Because I think, one of the things people are going to constantly do is look for that thing that's still undervalued in the Pokemon market. Like what's left? What's left? It's like you could go all the way back to the first like Pokemon bubble, and that was gold stars, right? Like gold stars are underrated. Oh, now gold stars aren't underrated. And then, we hit the Logan Paul hype. And then what happened when Logan Paul came in? First edition base, that's what he opened, spiked up, went crazy. And then what happened? Level X cards, just after the hype of first edition finally died down, people discovered Level X cards, and then freaking Level X cards like spiked up in price. And then after Level X cards spiked up in price, and now we're seeing like trophy cards spike up. And there is a lot of like little spikes that happen in between there. And, one of the things being like Japanese cards. Japanese cards were pretty, I wouldn't call them undervalued, but they were devalued in comparison to English. And now you see a lot of people talking about like Japanese cards. And, I showed you 2 Japanese cards that I'm sending away in this tier. Like, tell me if you guys know the difference between, one's, I'll show you. I won't say what's going on with them, but if you saw it, what's cool about those cards. So, Pokemon Classic says, whenever financial education is mentioned, at Catch 'em All Collectibles. Let's see. So Drew said PSA posted $15 on their Instagram 7 hours ago. Haven't tried to submit, so not sure if it's active yet. So, all right, this is funny, Drew. I didn't know they posted on the Instagram. I just heard it through Discord groups, but you have to like go into the actual application itself. So hit the submit button and then go as if you're going to start adding cards until you get to the point where you select the tier you're going to submit to. And then all the way at the bottom, you'll see that $15 TCG special. It's not advertised on their homepage. I think it was still $18 at the time, last time I checked. So Max Power, great name, by the way. Love it. If you guys are Simpsons fan, Max Powers gets his name off a hairdryer. But what he said, what's up, PK? PSA is definitely taking a jab at CGC by lowering the cost and minimum of bulk. Surprised but relieved to have seen both do this. And that's Max brings up a good point. The minimum. So this $15 per card minimum is only 10 cards. That's the minimum. I mean, you can only send 15 cards away at $150. And yeah, that's not going to include, your insurance or your shipping back. So let's just say on the highest end, it's like $30. So you're still looking at like $180 all in to get 15 cards graded. Yeah, when ZNG says it, man, like never punished, because I think this is the thing. I don't know, but I think turnaround times are going to be fast on these, or this is just based off the $18 special, which made no sense. But then again, historically, Pokemon has dragged their feet with TCG specials like for a long time. Like TCG specials always had the longest turnaround times, but again, they always had the smallest prices. So will be interesting too to see like if CGC responds to this. If we see like a very quick drop down in price, CG this is the thing. CGC is like everyone always talks about it. It's a quick play. It's a quick play. It's like the turn and burn, especially when it comes to modern cards like that. It's just okay. Like that only works if CGC's turnaround time is always drastically faster than PSA's. Like in the scenario where PSA could eventually get their turnaround times to, more comparable to CGC. So like if CGC is turning cards around in 2 weeks and CGC can turn around cards in a month, that's just semantics at that point. 2 weeks versus 4 weeks, like whatever. Like PSA is going to win that battle. And I think that's what's kind of keeping CGC going. But the thing is the only reason CGC's turnaround times are down to 2 weeks is because people just aren't submitting to CGC anymore. I think there's 3 reasons. One, probably just brand awareness. I'm shocked still to this day at how many people don't even know that CGC grades cards. And I've heard, I wouldn't call them horror stories, but I've heard actual real stories where people have come up to vendors at collecticons and said, what grading card company is this? So they're still that nervous. Number 2 is, the elephant in the room, that the slabs in comparison to PSA cards usually sell for less money, especially when you get out of like the pristine or the perfect grades and you're looking at like 9s, or you're looking at 9.5s in comparisons to 10s, and you look at prices. And then the third one is, their grading standards have become way more laxed, but they're definitely not as easy as PSAs. And I think a perfect example of that would be Rusty TCA Gaming's one of his more recent submissions to CGC. Sent a shitload of like pack fresh special delivery Charizards, which I've now had a few of them pass through my hands, and they're all decent quality, like 9 or 10 candidates, every single one of them. He was getting 8s, like 8s, 8.5, 9, 9.5. The price comparison for those in comparison to PSA is just like, I don't care how quick the turnaround times are for a CGC 8 special delivery Charizard versus a PSA 9 or 10. Like, I don't care. It's just, let's see. Let's see. Catchmall Collectible said, PSA isn't taking a jab at CGC. They're just opening up to utilize their 12 million card per year capacity. That's the thing. It's 12 million cards a year capacity right now today. PSA is still ramping up, meaning PSA is still like their amount of cards they're able to grade is still growing month over month. And one of the things a lot of people have talked about or speculated about is what happens when eventually all the cards that are worth it to be graded, what happens when that pool of cards dries up? Or maybe it, and don't take that word for, the most extreme, meaning dry up, meaning it goes to 0. No, but what happens when eventually that, the amount of cards you can send drastically gets lower and lower and lower and lower until it's a trickle opposed to a flood of cards every month. If that happens, and let's say PSA could realistically get up to 20 million cards a year they can grade. 20 million. So they're at 12 million now. That's an 8 million increase. What is that going to mean? It's going to mean they're probably going to have to make a distribution center or a grading center on the East Coast. They've already been talking about that. I think PSA purchased some property in Jersey. We don't know if that's just like a distribution center or if that's actually been a grading facility. This is going back like a year ago. They made that announcement. And now super recently, Ludkins has now become like the PSA arm of Europe. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that they're just going to become like the middleman for PSA and everything's still going to get sent overseas to California? Or does that mean that eventually we might see a PSA grading facility somewhere in Europe? And if that means it goes to Europe, then all the cards that were currently being sent from Europe will now trickle into this new grading facility in Europe. And then more or less PSA California and potentially New Jersey is going to service the US. That means you could go from 12 million cards to 20 million cards, very possibly. All that would mean is Jersey would have to cover about 4 million, and then Europe would have to cover 4 million in order to get to that 20 million. But at the same time, PSA is still ramping up, bigger warehouse spaces, new graders. At this point, early 2020, they had to, bring on a lot of people. They had to train a lot of people. Anybody that was brought on in 2020, it's now 2022. They should be experienced graders by this point, especially at 12 million cards running through people's hands. Like, they should be experienced graders. So they should be able to no longer be new. There's a lot to talk about. Like, it's an interesting conversation, whether you agree with it or not. It's like at least a conversation that should be had. And then that's the thing too, is okay, if what happens to the day that 20 million cards don't even get submitted to PSA? What happens to all these employees? Because for what PSA is doing, we're not just talking about a room full of graders. You're talking about accounting people, shipping, receiving, the people working in the sonic welding room and stuff like that. Like, they have to make a pretty small army of people to just, I'm thinking about just my most recent submission is like 100 cards. I mean, how much time does it take to just sonically weld 100 cards? Like, and now I'm just one person. And now that's 100 cards. I'm trying to think of logistics to sonically weld 100 slabs. We're talking 12 million slabs. So it's got to be a small army working there at this point, I think, or I don't know how else they can do it. Unless these guys are like Amazon warehouse robots and, you got Jeff Bezos and his penis rocket just flying above everybody, making sure that they're doing their job. So, let's see. So Weedle Warehouse said, Oak party in the house. Professor Oak, that's my man. Wait, so Professor Oak, I gave your so I see Professor Oak did a raid. That's pretty awesome. He's one of my, I wouldn't say he's one. He's like top 5. One of my favorite people in the hobby. Like, the funny thing about Professor Oak is just got utmost respect for him. He's one of those very, 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 very few people that it's very, very hard to find anything negative to say about him. And if you can find something negative to say about Professor Oak, there's probably way more negative things about you for you to be taken seriously. But yeah, his Discord, guys, as soon as this live is over, I will make a link to both Professor Oak's Discord down in the description below, and I'll also link Rattle's Discord. And I'm pretty sure Andrew, one of my mods, anybody watching this live, Drew, if you could do me a favor, just drop a link for Professor Oak's Discord. If anybody in here is not joined, recommend you guys joining it. I don't have a Discord, but if I did, it would be like Professor Oak's Discord. I'm always there, not usually talking, but I'm kind of just sitting out in the background. I'll read chat once in a while. And it's pretty interesting, the names you'll see in there too. A lot of good people. So Poke Fresh said, PK, long time since I caught a live without Co-Trainer Ryan and Rattle. Good to see you, my guy. OG's in the chat. Yeah, Poke Fresh, always good to see you, man. Always fun to, yeah, those podcasts are always fun with Ryan and Rattle. Sometimes they get crazy. Sometimes 1, 2, or 16 too many of these get drank, but I don't think it'll be anything like Denver. I don't think I could do 16 at Denver. I might get carried away on a stretcher. Let's see. Yeah, Professor Oak saying he's loving the $15 tier for PSA. I think a lot of people are going to be loving this tier, man. Let's see what else we got. Alex said, Alex says, oh, he's down to doing illegal things, just not getting caught. No, I hear you, man. Imposter Oak said he's going full Timmy on the next bulk submission. Dude, I'm kind of like, I'm going to go a little Timmy. Like, I think there's the easy plays, right? I'm running out of these, believe it or not. The stamp box promos. I'm actually running out of these. And that was a scary thing. I was like, I went pretty hard on these. And this is like almost, these are cards were unfair to grade in a way. They're all super clean, obviously they came out recently, but Japanese, new back cards just in general grade so easy. And these cards not being hollow grade even easier. So you're talking just Japanese print quality, non-hollow cards, super in-demand cards, artwork. I should have went even harder, but what are you gonna do? I was buying boxes at like 200. I think the highest I paid was 240. So 200, even when you buy 5 of them, that's 1,000, 240. It starts to add up like pretty quick. And I wish I just bought like $10,000 worth of boxes, and I did not do that. And I really kind of wish I did. And I wish I could just slowly be trickling those cards onto the market from now until, I don't know, forever, I guess. But that I don't know. There's probably somebody out there that did that. And if they did, good for you guys, man. What are you gonna do? Drew's funny. He said not subbing to PK is illegal in some countries. Appreciate that, man. Drew's one of the best. So Pokin Fun said, why am I getting clear to place order on Pokemon Center without a spot to add the promo code? Does the option for promo come in after the checkout? Pokin Fun, click where it says enjoy Pokemon. So go to your shopping cart, look at your item, whatever you put in there, whatever you added to your shopping cart, and then right below it, it's going to say enjoy Pokemon. Click where it says enjoy Pokemon, and then an option will come up to add your promo code. Shadowless Jack said, imagine getting paid 7K to open a Deoxys box. You get to have the fun and get the bucos of money. Yeah, Shadowless, man, like that's part of being able. What is he at? Like is he at 1.5 million yet? Rev will be at 2 million before we know it. And that's part of it, man. Like, give the guy credit. Production value is great. His ability to he can't keep up with chat 100%, but his ability to still stay engaged with the chat is amazing. Like, here I am. I got 104 people watching this right now, and I'm struggling to keep up with chat with 104 people. His videos will have like 9,000 people, and the chat will be flying a mile per minute, you know? So, Thomas, good to see Thomas in the chat. He says, is Celebrations being reprinted? I want to collect a graded master set of Celebrations. What's the best way to do this? Grade the cards itself or buy PSA or CGC singles off of eBay? Thomas, do it yourself, man. If you want to, because what you asked a word in there, you said you want to collect. If you want to collect cards and you want to, have this as be part of your personal collection, grade the cards yourself, man. Especially when it comes to celebration cards. Celebration cards, super fun set to open. I have yet to find somebody who told me they didn't enjoy Celebrations. Like, Celebrations is one of those very few sets that has very close to 100% of people that enjoy opening that set. So there are so many of those cards that exist on the market because of how enjoyable it was for so many people. They're very cheap. Like, even the chase cards of that set. My personal chase card was the Umbreon. Obviously, the Charizard being the most expensive in relative to chase cards and other sets. Anything you don't have, man, buy the card raw and just grade it yourself. That's the way. I would not recommend you like going PSA, and I definitely don't recommend you buying any CDC slabs personally. Like, it's not worth it. Even, I know CGC, if you buy the slab, you could crack it and you'll probably have like a pretty good pre-grade, but this is modern Pokemon we're talking about. It's very rare nowadays for modern Pokemon cards to pick them up raw and have them be like heavily damaged. Now, the danger of buying, raw modern cards, depending on the center or on the seller, is going to be centering, because depending on that seller, how familiar that seller is with grading means they're probably kind of pre-grading that card themselves, and they're probably selling the singles that have the poorer centering because they're all going to be relatively decent with edges and corners. Not all the time, but I'll give you one thing. Celebration's print quality was fantastic. Celebration had some of the best modern print quality we had ever seen. And especially coming off of like the most recent specialty set before Celebrations being Shining Fates. Shining Fates had terrible print quality. Terrible. Especially baby Shinings and Shining Fates. Like all the silvering around the edges of those and stuff. Like, drastic. Like, Celebrations was a nice change of pace for actual good print quality. Pokemon Classic says, Thomas, I'm working on the same goal, but he's opening the packs himself, but only opening packs for special occasions. Hope to do a fully highlight video recap once the master set is achieved. That's awesome, man. Celebrations is one of those very few sets that you can realistically still open up packs to complete the set. Yeah, it's still going to be a decent amount, but celebrations only being obviously the 25 card subset and then the 25 card classic collection, like 50 cards in total, is a very doable goal in comparison to trying, let's say, Evolving Skies or Lost Origins, where now you're in the thousands of packs. It could get pretty rough. Oh God, why does my computer do this? I like start scrolling down and just freaking jumps to the bottom. So PokeKid92 said, with all the box breaking channels like Rev, I do get bullshit on sealed. Or no, he didn't say bullshit. He says, I do get bullish on sealed. Okay. So when you're talking about Rev's channel, are you talking you get bullish on sealed for vintage product because these channels are able to actually justify opening up vintage product? Like me or you, we can open up vintage product, right? Because the cost versus what we're going to make versus what we're going to lose for a lot of this stuff is too high. But Rev could do it because he's making money on everyone. Is that what you mean? Or are you talking you're getting bullish on modern product because you're seeing how many like boxes channels are open? And that I would be a little bit more nervous about. This is the thing. Mason from Cardinal Gaming had a great video. It showed the warehouse of Pokemon, and it was like just giant warehouse, thousands upon thousands of square foot, pallets stacked too high, just an insane amount of product. But even at that point, like I still like my modern booster boxes, and that's the thing. Everybody says I'm an anti-modern channel, which is not true. I like my modern product. I like my modern booster boxes. I'm gonna sit on a couple, and just sometimes you just gotta do it. I'm not gonna sit on cases upon cases. The one set that I went a little hard on was Evolving Skies, and then once Evolving Skies hit 180, I sold my booster boxes, and then because right before the reprint happened, and then it just kept going back up right after the reprint, and now I think they're at like 205, 200 for Evolving Skies booster boxes, maybe more. So I'm still happy with where I sold them. I bought those babies at $95, so it is what it is. Can't win them all, but you can't lose them all too, at least if you're selling. Let's see. Pokemon Classic says, PK, I have a rental car. You're welcome to ride with me. Oh, I'll take you up on that, Pokemon Classics. I didn't know you got a rental. That's pretty cool, though. Drew said, yeah, well played, Pokemon Classics. You can save PK a few bucks. Oh, no. You know what I'm doing now. When I see Pokemon Classics, I'm going to have a handful of celebration packs, and I'm going to be like, here's your tips, Pokemon Classics. Like, let's make this master set happen. So, no problem, man. So I had Pokemon talking about how he waited for $15 grade and didn't grade at 18 or 22. He said he's a patient man and paid off doing. He's doing just fine, gentlemen. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, a lot of people are trying to say click on Enjoy Pokemon in order to enter that promo code on Pokemon Center. That's all you got to do. It is confusing though. I won't lie. The first time around, I definitely had no clue where to enter my promo code. So, So Trapper says, what does Call of Legends booster box go for? That's a good question. I would say a Call of Legends booster box probably goes for, yeah, I don't know the prices, but if I had to take a guess, like probably like 7 Gs, maybe more. Like it's so hard to know booster box prices right now because of how extremely far away booster box prices are opposed to what booster boxes should cost. I swear to God, I saw Emergent Powers booster box sell for $1,800. That is a booster box. I've said it a million times. You open that entire booster box and your entire value out of that booster box, assuming you pull the chase card, which is the Tornadus, assuming you pull the chase card, your entire value worth of cards in that booster box might be $100. And that's being generous to everybody. $100. You pay $1,800. So, like Call Legends, which is a great set, I don't really know what those booster boxes sell for. It's just crazy market. Sure, we could look it up though. I could do this right now. Let's see. eBay. Call Legends booster box. Call. All right, that can't be right. I could not be that far off. Oh wait. Let's see what they're actually selling for. Because when I just pulled it up, it's like Call of Legend booster boxes, $30,000 the best offer, but that just seems way too high. Let's see. All right, I was way off. So the last Call of Legend booster box sold for 3,500. I thought they could be as high as 7. I don't know if that's a real sale though. Oh no, that's French. French. No Call of Legend booster boxes have sold anytime recently. So if a French booster box is 3,500, I have no clue what a actual one is. Wow. You stumped me, man. I don't know. I love that as I search like completed listings for Call of Legends, I'm getting like evolution booster boxes at 700. There's a good example of how much value are you going to pull out of a booster box versus in reality, what is the value inside that booster box? Let's see. There are a couple booster boxes that I have. I don't have like huge sealed products for vintage and booster boxes, not like, somebody who has one of every set. I don't have that, but the few I do have, I look at them all the time, but I only have one of them. I don't have a single vintage booster box where I have doubles of. So if I did, there's definitely a few that I wish I sold. The very, very few that I do have, trust me, I have definitely pondered with the thoughts of selling some of them at the crazy prices they're selling at. But this is the thing. I've also come to the reality in some of these old vintage booster boxes, the same way I've came to the reality in a lot of my graded cards. The second that thing leaves my collection, it will be gone forever and it will never return because it's hard to justify prices sometimes, man. Let's see. So Pokemon Classic said, fun fact, I do a whole CSI murder mystery unit for students in his high school English class. Basically a game of Clue. The victim's name is Max Powers. That is cool. And I do love the Simpsons quote for Max Powers. So Pokin Fun said, so I heard your promo code resets every week and it can use the code once a week ? So I think that was true. I want to say that maybe Pokemon has fixed that. I'm not 100% sure. But Pokin Fun, if you have like some relatives or somebody you can send it to, just use their address. Use a different credit card, use PayPal, use a different VPN. Try all the things you can. So people are saying, no, you can't reuse the same code. No, you can't use the same code. So Head Pokemon says he has a question for everyone. Why is nobody getting the special delivery Charizard graded sealed? I want to send one or two like that. Does anyone know the price? So in order to send the special delivery Charizard sealed, it's the same thing as sending a pack sealed. They don't grade the card inside, they grade the actual plastic wrap itself. But the thing is currently with like foil grading and pack grading, your cheapest option is going to be $50. So if you send that special delivery Charizard, your grading fee is going to be $50. So it's just something to keep in mind. Like pretty recently, pack grading fees were as low as $25, but I think that changed in like, oh wow, actually it was probably long ago. It was probably like May of last year or April of last year. So it's been a pretty long time since it's been $25. So yeah, if you want to grade your special delivery Charizard sealed, you're looking at like $50 a card. So it's pretty pricey. And again, they're not going to be grading the card itself. They're going to be grading the plastic wrap. So There are very few cards that are kind of worth it, the grade, with the cellophane wrap still on it. If you got a Shadowless Machamp from the 2-player starter deck or something like that, then yeah, that's probably a card worth grading, especially if the card inside has a little bit of wear to it and the plastic wrap is still nice. Let's see. Yeah. So Poking Fun was said he was told told by somebody to wait a week to add the code. Dougie Fresh said PSA is just saying FU CGC, time to crack them slabs. I'd be curious. We always talk, and I think it was on the Poke and Flips podcast. Z and G were on there, and they said, "Sorry, Earth." It is always amazing at how much plastic we use for everything, especially in Pokemon. When you look at just recently, in order for me to get my Lance's Charizard V promos from the most recent reprint of the Celebration boxes, like just the box, then the clamshell inside of it, and then inside the clamshell or other pieces of plastic you got to pull out until like all this just waste. And it is pretty funny that ZNG and Cam said, "Sorry, Earth." And it is very true in the Pokemon hobby. Sorry, Earth. So Shadowless Jack said, "We have 96 people watching, only 30 likes. Guys could smash that like button for me. I don't ask for much. I just ask for a like occasionally. Appreciate it." I do. So this is the thing. I am always kind of interested because at the end of the day, like my channel doesn't get a ton of views, but this video, when it's all said and done, will get between 1,000 and 2,000 views, let's just say. Or some of my videos have like 10,000 views. Like a good example being the huge live I had has 10,000 views. And I'm always curious how many people are out there who watch a lot of these videos or have been subscribed to my channel for a very long time. Long time for this channel could be since the channel started, have watched most of my videos, if not all of them, enjoy my content. And out of all the videos they've ever watched, out of all the content they've ever enjoyed, they've never once posted a single comment or never once hit that like button one time. I always kind of laugh at that, where there's probably a decent amount of people out there that exist just like that. So, but it's fine. It's just, I always laugh because the people that are more engaged, I learn people's names. Like I know a lot of these people in the chats just, from conversing with them through the channel and stuff. But I'm always curious how many people are out there who just exist in the land of YouTube that have watched a lot of videos, but just don't interact at all, which is fine. Like you don't have to interact, but I'll have 1,000 views and I can maybe name 100 of the people. It's like, who are the other 900 or who are the other 900 people? So, Pokefresh said, "PK, thoughts on Japanese unlimited e-reader and EX cards?" Well, here's a nice unlimited EX card for you. Ampharos EX Unlimited. But then here's the first edition. So I got unlimiteds in my set, and this card is sexy card. Yeah. What are my thoughts about it? I think unlimited is extremely underrated, but my thoughts are also, I think unlimited is going to be extremely underrated for the foreseeable future. I don't know if there'll ever be a day where the entire Pokemon hobby just comes together and values underprinted stuff for what it should be. I don't think that ever happens. I think people will always look at a card like this. They'll look on that bottom left and they'll say, "Oh, okay, first edition. That means that first edition stamp means that card is rare and that card should be worth more." I think there is a subset of this hobby that definitely doesn't think that, but that is just a subset. I think the vast majority of people love that first edition stamp way too much. The same thing as base set, or talking about like shadowless cards and stuff like that. Where does shadowless fall? Is shadowless the first? Was first edition, second, when did that stamp go on? What's, and then first edition stamps, it's like, well, what do people care about? Do they care about the thick stamp? Do they care about the thin stamp? Do they care about the ghost stamp? It's like you get into all this little nuances, right? And or even back to base set, it's like, base set has four real kind of variations. Got first edition, you got shadowless, you got unlimited, but then you got the fourth print. And what is fourth print? It's nothing. It's just the date on the bottom of unlimited cards a little bit different. And maybe the distribution was much less in the States or United States. And then in the Europe, that was where that fourth print, or technically eighth print, or however you want to really call that, was distributed more in Europe. So a lot of the North American collectors never got to see those cards. So therefore those cards became more rare, but how rare are they actually in comparison? Like, you go down like this crazy rabbit hole, right? So, but this is the thing. It's just whatever. Oh my God. I don't know if I'll ever be able to figure out why when I scroll down, it jumps to the bottom. Let's see. So Steve TCG says Walmart gets the Charizard boxes in stock. They're so fun to open. Compare them to something like Fusion Strike, and it's worth it. Yeah, Celebrations is fun, man. Celebrations was fun, is fun, probably continue to be fun. I think when Celebrations really stops getting reprinted and time goes by, like time hasn't gone by for Celebrations yet. Celebrations, when the printing stopped, and again, I say that in quotations, when Pokemon kind of made their announcement, Celebrations had only been printed for a few months. It wasn't even a full year at that point. I think when the hobby as a whole looks back on Celebrations, I think the hobby's going to look back at Celebrations very fondly. And especially if one of the arguments a lot of people say, especially when it comes to modern, and they always say, like, people who re-enter the hobby or just join the hobby for the first time, Sword and Shield is going to be like their base set, or Evolving Skies is going to be their favorite set. I think a lot of that same argument could be taken towards Celebrations, because Celebrations had a little bit for everybody. Celebrations still had like chase cards from the entire history of the hobby. So it didn't matter if you originally hopped in, you had your Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise, you had your big three, or you had your prime cards, or you had your level X cards, or you had your Delta Species cards, depending on the promos. Like, it had a little bit for everybody. So, and then even like your full art Zekrom, like black and white promos and stuff like that. So Reshiram, Zekrom, it had a little bit for everybody. No matter what timeline you were in this hobby, it was fun. And even if you were like into the, more playability of the cards, and you want to go back to like the Cleffa from Neo Genesis, like super playable card back in the day, like they did a really good tribute to a lot of people. Now, they missed out on a huge opportunity. They didn't put any e-reader cards in there, and then they missed out on an even bigger opportunity on top of that. They didn't put any crystal cards in it. I really would have liked to see crystal cards in Celebrations. I would have liked to seen at least one e-reader card, but they didn't do it. So that's the only bad thing about the set. But other than that, it's awesome. Let's see. So Wookie Fresh said, PK, when are you gonna give your boy a wrench? I don't know. Why would you want to be a mod? I got a lot of mods. So Trapper was talking about the Call Legends booster box. He said there's a few on eBay at 20K plus, but no recent sales yet. So I'm not really sure what a recent sale would be. I guess you probably have to look at like a Heritage or some auction platform that maybe would have had a Call Legends box pretty recently, which is crazy. Talk about missed opportunities in the past, but no one knew. No one knew. If anybody tells you they did know, they're just full of shit. Like, no one truly knew. Missed opportunities, man. Missed opportunities all around. even recent missed opportunities, man. I missed out on like some really good opportunities, especially like team up and stuff like that. Should have just bought cases of team up, but you don't know, you know. I have a team up booster box. I have one team up booster box. Like, what am I gonna do with that? That's not something I could just sell right now because it's gone. Like, super modern, $1,000 booster box. Like, what do I do with that? And I wish I bought more. The only booster box I went a little heavy on was Cosmic Eclipse, and I just Cosmic Eclipse wasn't a loser by any chance or by any sense of imagination. You know, it's still a $500+ booster box, but I just kind of picked the wrong set. I picked Cosmic Eclipse over Team Up. Should have just picked Team Up, but this is the thing. You could do this stuff where you kick yourself all day, whatever. A lot of missed opportunities in this hobby. And no matter how engaged you are, there'll be missed opportunities. And just like I told you, the stamp promo boxes at $200, that's a missed opportunity too. And that was super recent. That's like in the last year, that was a missed opportunity. And then to be honest with you, come December 31st, when the last Charizard promo is shipped out by Pokemon Center, and January 1st, you can no longer hit that promo code in it. I guarantee you, come January 1st, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be saying, you know what? Had a lot of opportunities that load up on special livery Charizards. And even though I bought a bunch of them, I probably missed the opportunity. Should have bought way more and probably should have called up every single one of the people I know, everybody who's a good friend of mine, and be like, hey, Bill, can I send a box to your house? And he'd probably be like, yeah, that's weird, but okay. And that's probably a conversation I'm going to have on January 1st when I kick myself for not owning all the special delivery Charizards, because who knows where that card settles out at. Even if that card settles out at $50, I'm probably going to kick myself. So I don't know. And I'm saying cards settle out at $50 out of 10, not settle out $50 raw. Let's see. Kevin Clear says Pokemon needs to tighten the ship up. The early product is getting as bad as the shoe market with backdoor. And yeah, I'm not familiar with the shoe market. I know nothing about the shoe market, but Pokemon definitely needs to tighten it up. And I think it's just logistically so hard for them. I think there's too many little pieces moving. And I think a lot of the leaks and stuff is, probably like warehouse workers and stuff, people that are on the lower end of the spectrum, like financially, and are just trying to make these plays real quick to just make a couple bucks. And they're probably just not, I don't know, they're just not doing it right. And I'm just amazed at the people they're selling this product to too. Like some of the people you see like getting their hands on this product, like the first people, the very early people getting this product, and that they're probably friends with whoever stole the product. Like it's that early. I think the perfect example of it was the Celebrations product that got released. Celebrations got released super early, and then we started to see packs of Celebrations sell on Whatnot for like $96. But man, the people opening that product, listening to those people talk, it was like makes my ears bleed. Where a lot of people probably listen to me talk and be like, BK, you make my ears bleed. Well, fuck you. I say that in a nice way, but I'm not. Maybe. Trapper says your channel is gonna blow up. I don't know about that, man. I think my channel just got a little niche. It's still going after my subscriber goal, which is 6,969 subscribers. If you don't know why that is an awesome goal, that's on you, not on me. So Catch 'em All Collectible says he uses a Zard code a week and a half ago, and he can't use another one. So yeah, it looks like they might have changed that up. So, but there's still opportunities. There's opportunities for everything, guys, as long as you try hard enough. This is the thing, like special livery codes, you're not really hurting anybody by getting a bunch of them. There's a lot of them. There's definitely a lot of people that definitely abuse the system, like on a high end. And some of the money that people made on special delivery codes, especially the ones that are probably able to somehow bot and like get a ton of email codes, like they made a lot of money. They kind of hurt it for a lot of people. Wow, the chat's on fire tonight. Good for you guys, man. I'm trying to keep up, but Kevin Clear. Oh, Kevin Clear. Good to see you in the chat, man. Kevin Clear is he's been a subscriber for this channel for a long time. I really like Kevin a lot. But he says, oh wait. He says Pokemon. Oh, he was the one that just talked about the shoe market. I just reread the same thing. So I see Mason Berry from Cardinal Gaming in the chat. He's another person I'm looking forward to meeting too in Denver. So Typhlosion Collector says he watches a lot of the videos, mainly a lurker though. That's cool though. At least you came in the chat and you let us know you're a lurker. Robert Stack says, I used to be the guy who would watch videos and not like. It wasn't until I started watching PokeTubers and I realized the value of it. And now I like and comment like crazy. Well, Robert, I appreciate that, man. Poke Fresh says, I have a PSA 9 Unlimited Japanese Gold Star Celebrity, a PSA 9 Japanese Unlimited Rockets Entei, and a PSA 9 Unlimited Japanese Snorlax EX. I'm holding on to just in case. Well, it's always good to hold on to, especially if you're a collector at heart, man. Hold on to it. It doesn't matter. Cards go up, cards go down. You're just there for the roller coaster ride, man. You just strap in and you're the one smiling the whole way. Mason Berry said Denver fit in to be like a secret society meeting where we get all together and decide what is good and what is bad in the hobby. Can you imagine? So Mason just said something that's really funny. Like, what if we all got together and we were just like, okay, this is the card we're gonna shill. And it's just like the most ridiculous card. I think like a good example of what Mason said is like the TV reporter, the reverse hollow from EX Dragon. Like that card, the rumor is that card is extremely rare. Now, this is the thing. I've quoted that. I've said the EX reverse hollow TV report, the TV reporter reverse hollow from EX Dragon is very rare. I base that off of things that I've heard from other people, like old PSA articles talking about EX Dragon, stuff like that. Like you got to kind of really go down the rabbit hole, do your research to find out like why the reverse hollow TV reporter from EX Dragon is, a rare card. I don't even know the number of the card, but it's like that sets out of 97. So it's got to be like one of the later ones. It's like number 89 out of 97 or something. It's one of the trainer cards, but either way, super underprinted, never had a reverse hollow in the English printing. And the story is that when it made its way over to England on the later printing, that's when they realized like, oh, we never included a reverse hollow. So it's super rare. We don't know if that story is true. Like nobody could really like collaborate that or give a definitive answer if that is definitely true, but we all just accept it as being the truth based off of what other people have said. So what Mason just said, you could kind of do that, like that secret society meeting where you just say, okay, we're just going to tell everybody, TV reporters from EX Dragon reverse hollows are extremely rare, and we'll see what the price will do. Because when you look at prices for that card selling, they're thousands, especially for super high grades like a 10, thousands. That could be like what Mason's talking about. Could we do that with a card? That is a question. Is there a card in this hobby that exists that you can do that to? And I believe the answer is yes. This is where somebody clips this video and they're like, this is it, man. Illuminati's in Pokemon. They're shilling cards again. Yeah. So Alex says people pay an extra for fourth print. It's just silly to them. Shadowless makes sense. Shadowless, of course, makes sense. But this is the thing about fourth print cards is PSA recognizes it. but PSA didn't always recognize fourth print. So right now the pop reports for fourth print look super low for a lot of the stuff, especially like in PSA 10s. It looks like 0 cards exist in a PSA 10. But it's just the fact that PSA took a really long time to acknowledge 99 2000 fourth print cards. Um so Robert Stack says, recommendation for somebody like me who wants to grade cards I pull with my son since we started collecting in January. Super modern, but some heavy hitters like Alt Art Charizard. Yeah, Robert, man. Grade your cards, man. What's your recommendation? Like, my recommendation to you is do it. The best recommendation for grading cards is just to do it. Do it for the first time. If you've never graded a card in your entire life, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Pull off the Band-Aid, get yourself a PSA membership, Collectors Club, $99. Or you don't need a club membership, but if you want the specials, you're going to need the $99. Do it. Get yourself a membership. Send away a couple cards. Don't just send away cards that are Gem Mint 10. Send away cards that are lower grade. Figure out what grading scales are like. Get some 10s back, get some 9s back, get some 8 backs, get some 4s back. See if you can land a PR1 if you got some super heavy play. Learn conditions of cards, man. The second you learn conditions of cards and you become a decent pre-grader, sky's the limit for you. That is the most important thing. And then when you become a decent pre-grader and you start to then go the raw route, buying cards on eBay, especially vintage cards on eBay, or if you want to do buy gets a little tricky. But if you want to go on eBay, doing the raw, card thing, because raw cards to grading is where a lot of money is to be made. It's also the highest risk. If you are not good at pre-grading and you just are super biased and you ignore clear signs of like whitening or dents or hollow scratches or centering of cards, especially on eBay when they have front and back pictures, like you're really going to get hurt in this hobby. But if you become a decent pre-grader and you have patience and you can really cipher through a lot of different listings, yeah, man, you're going to do great. So my recommendation for you is just do it. Just do it. Like the Nike commercial with a Nike swoosh. So Pokin Fun said, yeah, he's always wondered how Shadowless is more rare and less expensive, and always wondered if they're 100% sure. I wouldn't say Shadowless is more rare. Shadowless is one of those things that, depending on who you talk about, Shadowless cards is very regional opposed to first edition cards. Like first edition cards, for the most part, we saw a lot of first edition cards wind up on like the West Coast, but Shadowless cards, we saw a lot of like Shadowless cards wind up on the East Coast. So depending on geographical locations of where people lived, you'll hear a lot of people on the East Coast who say, I never saw any first edition cards ever, but I saw some Shadowless cards. And then you'll have people on the West Coast, like California, stuff like that, and they'll say, I've never seen any Shadowless cards, but I saw a bunch of first edition cards. It becomes regional, man, especially when you start going back that far and you start diving down the rabbit hole. I just hopped down to the bottom of the chat real quick. I just appreciate it. Robert Stack says, thank you. I will join PSA and do it. Seems like fun. You rock. No, Robert, you rock, man. Appreciate the super chat a lot, man. It helps out the channel. Let's see. Where was I? Gotta hop back up. See, Felipe De Sosa's in the chat. Felipe's he's a good guy, man. For the first time, I got to chat with him in one of shout out Professor Oak's Discord. Like in Professor Oak's Discord, they do a lot of voice chats. Just chats kind of like what we're doing, and I was able to just hang out with him for a little while. He's a good man. He's a cook too. He likes to cook, so maybe one day we'll meet up at a CollectorCon or something, and we'll go out to a restaurant together, and you can actually tell me if the food I'm eating is really good or really bad, because he's a good guy though. So Stevie TCG was saying, the Dan from Catch 'em All Collectibles, he said he found his channel through PK. Really like your videos. You helped him out a lot on eBay. That's awesome, man. Let's see. Philippe says, Denver Con is greater than Woodstock. Wish he could go. Felipe, I wish you could go too, man. I think that would be a lot of fun. It's not too late. No, I think he's in Canada, so it might be tough. Uh, so Pokey Collectible said, what some of us Australians would give to attend these collecticons and have easy access to cheap PSA grading. Yeah. So I used to talk to Australian Blastoids a lot. Australian Blastoids, one of the real early subscribers from my channel. Super smart dude, like super engaged, just all around freaking great guy. He's a dad. He's an awesome father. He just opens cards or opens packs with the kids. Like he's definitely winning like father of the year award. But yeah, Australian Blastoise said the same thing, that that's one of the struggles he was having living in Australia, was just, you know, especially buying like PSA graded cards, because a lot of them obviously are coming from like America. So import charges and stuff like that. And my recommendation to him was, dude, just get yourself a PSA, or not a PSA, get yourself a PWCC vault and just have the cards shipped directly to your PWCC address. Because at that point, you aren't going to have to pay those import fees. And then once they're in your vault, if you want to like try to get around that, you could just ship them back to yourself and not pay those import charges. And you take the risk now of, but that's my recommendation. If you're buying graded cards, have them shipped to your PWCC vault if you're in Australia. And I like to send cards to my PWCC vault anytime I buy a card off of somebody from like Instagram or whatever. I just give them my PWCC vault. This way you don't have to like give out your personal address or your PO box if you don't want to. It's just easier. And once the card goes in there, then they take the high res photos. If you decide to sell it, you could, but if you don't, you could keep it in your vault. And if you want to have PWCC mail it to you, you could just have it mailed to you. And the PWCC shipping isn't super expensive. It's for like what they offer, it's cheap. And obviously you're probably not going to just ship one card to you per time. You probably like wait till you have a decent amount of cards, and then it just comes in like a giant brick of graded slabs, which I was going to send some cards from my PWCC vault to myself to bring to Denver, and I just didn't. It's not too late, but I'm like getting to the point where I'm thinking I'm just going to go super, super light to Denver and just try to like enjoy the experience, because I have one of those very like, it's not an addictive personality, but it's a very like, in a way, competitive personality where like if I bring cards, like I'm going to really like try to get good deals, and I'm going to spend so much of my time like trying to trade and trying to do good trades. And like, I kind of get like in a way competitive, but if I just don't bring slabs and I don't do that, like I think I'll just have a better overall experience by not doing that and not just constantly trying to get the better deal. That's why I really like to shop on eBay, because I can, be super aggressive on eBay, but do it like with anonymity and like not just be super like kind of pushy. That's just understanding your faults. And I think that's one of my faults, is that I would just be a little too aggressive. So maybe I shouldn't. But then there is like another part of me too, that I want to be able to just go to Collecticon and like try to get a good deal, like throw some low ball offers out there, see what people come back to me at, and it is what it is. Wow. I think this is the most active my chat's ever been. I'm struggling to keep up with you guys. My plan was, I was going to answer a couple questions. Usually I make it to the end of the chat and then I call it a night, but you guys are killing it tonight. Mason said, hashtag sorry Earth. Yeah. So Max Wolf says, I have a degree in environmental science. It's too late to it's too late to enjoy your cardboard. I don't know, Max. I have a pretty decent experience in environmental science too. So I think me and you could have a pretty good conversation. So Marty the Martian said, last codes probably will be given out this month. It was a 3-month promo. Yeah, so what did they say? Like 12 rounds of those special delivery Charizard promos were going to go out, but they weren't going to be redeemable after December 31st of 2022. So come January 1st, 2023, you'll no longer be able to redeem that promo code, allegedly. If that changes, maybe, but I wouldn't take the risk, meaning I wouldn't be sitting on like 100 codes waiting to redeem them and just having your fingers crossed that January 1st comes along and you can still use them. Who knows though? Like, let's see. Mason Berry said, oh wait, I already read that one. Where my chat is bouncing. So I see Jim Wilson in the chat. Good to see you, Jim. He said, "Hey PK." So Freestyle Feebass says Celebrations reminds him of Xmas already. It's gonna do well, I bet. Celebrations is fun, man. It's funny. All right, this is the thing too. We went weeks, maybe months without even mentioning Celebrations, and here we go. Like we get a couple, restocks of Lance's Charizard V boxes from Celebrations, and here we are. Like everybody's talking about Celebrations again. It's pretty wild, but I will be very interested in where history, like how history looks at Celebrations in the future. That's what I'll be interested at. So Roy said, PK, I finally made it to alive. Thank you so much for all the vids, man. Roy, appreciate you, man. All I ask is you just hit that like button, Roy. But I appreciate you dropping in and writing a comment. Brian says chat is sleeping. Let's see. So Alex said, Poke Knowledge cards, quality greater than quantity. Fair enough. Professor Oak said, 6,969 subscribers. Going to be a wild night to celebrate that one. Yes, it will be. I think that's my goal was to get to 6,969 subscribers by the end of 2022. That was a aggressive goal. I definitely won't make it by then, but I will not rule it out of the inevitability and the history of this channel to never be able to hit that number. I really hope someday. That is the goal. And once I hit that number, it's smooth sailing from there. And keep in mind, guys, Professor Oak said his goal was 100 subscribers. I think he's sitting at like 340 subscribers right now or something around that number last time I saw it. So Professor Oak, he'll be hitting that 6,969 subscribers himself. Again, if you guys are not subscribed or not in his Discord, highly recommend you join. So Quate from Compton said also a lurker. No, I know you, buddy. He's a good guy. You could always tell, like, when sometimes people are lurking, like if I'll do a giveaway like in the live chat or something, next thing I'll know is just like all these names. I'm just like, oh, there you guys are. But I'm just really loving the community, really loving this community too. Like this channel's community, seeing the names, seeing the familiar names, it's a lot of fun. So Robert Sachs says, so I paid the BN PSA collector cub for $99, then submit. What happens if value is over 199 then? Just the charge me more than the 15? So the $99 is just what you're going to pay for your subscription, like in order to send cards away for grading. And when PSA does their collector cub like offers, you'll be eligible for that. But anytime you send a card, you're going to pay per card whatever the price is for that certain tier. So if you send it to the TCG special at 15, you're going to pay 15. But if you decide to do the regular tier, which is $100, you're going to pay $100 per card. Your $99 a year is just your subscription. It's not it has nothing to do with how much you're going to pay to send those cards. Let's see. So Head Pokemon said, only reason I'm on the fence about grading, I want to buy plane tickets when I shouldn't have, and now I'm choosing to get another trophy over going to Denver. I'm sure I'll meet everybody down the road. I would be curious what trophy card Head Pokemon got. All right. So, Head Pokemon, appreciate the donation, man. He's a good guy. We got Professor Oak in the chat. We all know how I feel about Professor, or excuse me, not Professor. We got Basic Trainer in the chat. We all know how I feel about Basic Trainer. Basic Trainer, one of my best friends in the hobby, went to the dark side. I'm really gonna miss him. So Basic Trainer says he's currently at a MetaZoo tournament, but just stop by to drop a like and say hi to the homies. No, Basic Trainer, he's one of the good guys. I'm looking forward to seeing Basic Trainer in Denver. Looking forward to seeing a lot of people in Denver. I think Thrifty's going to be in Denver. Definitely looking forward to seeing her in Denver. But yeah, Head Pokemon, definitely appreciate the super chat. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna. So I was just about to call it a night, and then I get to this comment from Stevie TCG says, "PK, don't call it a night. The Miller High Life are following. I know it's not Bud Light, but pretty. Or sorry, he said the Miller High Lifes are flowing. He knows it's not Bud Light, but pretty damn good. The problem is I only grab a couple beers and like I drink them during the stream, and then I can't get up. You know, when I could get up during a live with other people, there's no dead air time. Now I can't get up to grab more. So I see Pokemon Collector, Derek Lavender, Kevin Clare, Justin. So Felipe said it's safe to buy codes from eBay. I would recommend buying a shirt or something for your special delivery jars so your special delivery Zard doesn't get damaged. He bought a Pikachu active shirt. So I haven't had any of those issues, man. I've bought a couple special delivery Zards and no problems. Like I usually buy like 3-pack blisters and stuff like that off Pokemon Center. I haven't had any issues with them being damaged. The only thing I have had is where my special deliveries are like went underneath the flap of one of the boxes, and I open up the box. I'm like, son of a bitch, they didn't include the special delivery Zard. And then as I like pulled up the bottom flaps, it was just chilling right underneath there. So they definitely do slide around a little bit. All right, guys. With that said, it's getting late. Still got work in the morning. This was a fun chat. The chat tonight was very lively. There's definitely a lot of different comments. All the people that joined in, appreciate every single one of you guys. You guys are the reason why I do this and the reason why I keep doing this. I don't ask for much. All I ask for you to do, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. You could just keep lurking, enjoying the content, enjoying the videos, because you guys are the best and you guys make it all worth it. But for everybody else out there, I'll catch you on the next video.